to a fresh, juicy peach.
This on?
Yes.
What should I do?
A lot.
Dog?
10 out of 10.
Yeah, where you go? Mr. Miller.
Tech Week is putting together the show and making it run smoothly. It's worrying about all the technical aspects of the show, which are many. The lighting, the sound, the making sure the set pieces move on time, making sure anything that's supposed to light up on the set lights up on the set. It's also a time when you would do costumes and makeup and hair and all that, which I have nothing to do with, but it's done in Tech Week as well. So Tech Week is very busy, and you have 1 week to get all that stuff right when the cast had 6 or 7 weeks to get their part right. But it's tough for the cast too, because there's so many new things that they have to deal with. They have to get used to the light. They have to get used to exactly where they are on the set, doing all their dance moves in costume. It's a challenge, but it's Tech Week, usually referred to as Hell Week. True, but because it is kind of hellish, but it's Tech Week.
My name is Chris Armstrong. I work in the theater department with the children. My main role is to instruct scenic painting and some design techniques, and to kind of keep all the kids organized. The kids call me the theater mom. I suppose that's a fair role. I have been doing it for about 14 years, and I find it really inspirational to work with high school kids. Tech Week is pretty stressful, although the crew pretty much has things under control. The day before Tech Week, on that Saturday, we're finishing up all the fine-tuning of all of the different set pieces, painting, touching up painting, and then Tech Week is really about the kids running the show. So my role sort of fades away, except for kind of helping them get through a really long, stressful week.
What I thought I would do is talk about the musical, since that's the largest production we do every year. So the way it starts is we usually begin with a visioning session, and that includes Mr. Miller, Mr. Dolphin, Ms. Armstrong, and myself. And hopefully, before the meeting ever starts, every single one of those people have either read the script or are pretty familiar with the show, just so we can be as productive as possible. So then 2 things usually happen. If we have like one main set, like we did for Chicago, for example, what I start with is by describing my big picture vision of how I want the set to work. So how the set can help us tell the story. And then from my kind of beginning description, what ends up happening is that we discuss and brainstorm, and they have their ideas until we come up with something we really are all excited about. Then, once we have kind of that big picture vision set, we'll actually go scene by scene through the musical and discuss how we can add to that base for both interest but also efficiency. So what happens is I usually will describe the story needs provided by the script, and then we'll all brainstorm how to make that story happen with the scenic elements. And then we brainstorm until we figure out how to make it possible. And then after the vision meeting, what happens is once we feel really good about the set design, Mr. Miller then starts to make the actual designs on paper. Once he gets that done, then he'll share them with me. We'll discuss, adjust, until we both have designs that we can't wait to see come to life. And then for the rest of the process, which usually is about 8 weeks, then we check in regularly to discuss any necessary changes or adjustments, just so that we're both on the same page for the rest of the process.
Okay.
Can't believe you. Okay.
How do you feel going into Tech Week?
I'm excited.
There's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work to be
We
done?
might be a little behind, but
Are you excited?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Yes. Well, it's gonna be a new experience for me, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. So everything's new. so much fun.
Pretty good. A little stressed.
I'm so excited.
Ooh, that's
Both of them cried and
Excited, but scared.
yeah.
I'm very excited for Tech Week. It'll be kind of long, but I think it'll be really fun.
I feel like we're behind, but we'll get it done, you know?
Yeah.
We got this.
What's your favorite part of Tech Week?
The food.
Favorite part of Tech Week? It's gotta be the food.
The food.
The food is the best part.
The food is
Oh, yeah. What are you doing in the show?
I'm doing mics. First year stage crew. Thank you guys for helping.
I'm doing the lighting coordinator, board operator.
I'm doing Spotlight.
What do you do as a grip, Chloe?
You move stuff.
I'm using the soundboard or doing sound effects.
I'm mixing mics.
I gotta move ropes and look good while doing it.
What are you?
I'm nervous-sided for Tech Week.
Nervous-sided.
I have worked on 4 shows with Mr. Miller, and he brings just so many different really great aspects of crew for me, combining really old school techniques, although he probably wouldn't appreciate saying old school, but just really understanding how to build things correctly, and just his design drawings and the way that he relates the whole project to the students. Working with him has been just wonderful for me, and I've learned so much, just like the kids have learned. I've really learned a lot from him as well, which I think we have a really good partnership, and I'm glad that I can be a part of it.
Here's my tunnel.
Mr. Dolphin! Yes!
I'll cry myself to sleep every night for the next week. That's it.
How do you feel about the stage crew? How do you feel about Tech Week?
They really support us in all the ways possible, and we couldn't do this show without them. They help create beautiful costumes and amazing sets and amazing lighting. Yeah.
Thanks.
So what I've realized, people on stage crew use concepts more from like math and science, whereas people in the cast use concepts more from like English and history and like analyzing characters in different situations. So they're very different, but they use knowledge in both very significant ways. Also, that looks sick.
Are you guys excited? What's your favorite part of Tech Week?
Just like I want to see the lighting for this show.
Yeah, I think it'll be really cool, especially since we have a lot of new aspects of lighting that we didn't include in our other shows. I think it'll be really interesting to see the silhouettes of the Cell Block Tango girls in the jail cells, but also when me and Joe are on the, or Joe and I are on the platform.
Good grammar.
I think Tech Week is really cool because it's when you finally see things starting to come together, from a crew perspective and from a actor perspective, I guess. Because so working on between both, it's really cool to see them both come together, and then all of the parts come together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's really what makes the show. At this point, I'm just really proud of the work that we've been able to get done. No, I just love watching everyone and kind of being a part of it, but being able to detach myself and watch and enjoy the beauty, because I think that's the thing about being on crew is that you make everything and then the actors bring it to life, and that's really cool to watch, and to be a part of that is cool, but then to detach myself and being wow, I know how hard this person worked to make this scene go well, and then with the crew, oh, I know how hard it was to get this going and getting this built, and I think that's really cool to think about, and just I think me and Ingrid have a really different perspective than everyone else, and in the audience I think they'll really appreciate that. I hope everyone appreciates what the cast, crew, and just everyone involved does.
What's going on?
It's just a lot. I don't like being interviewed.
It's not at the end.
Maddie, tell me what's going on over here.
Checklist. My light's out. I have no comms, and there's a cable that people keep tripping over. So we'll see what happens.
Yes.
First night of Tech Week.
First night of Tech Week.
Mr. Miller, save the day.
What do you enjoy most about crew and working with the kids in the productions?
Going home. Oh, not that. I shouldn't say that. That's not true. It's just fun to watch them work. You know, even when they mess up, so that they can take it apart and put it back together the right way. Always a good time. But generally, watching them kind of click on getting it right and caring about it, caring that it's good, that it's it's the best that we can possibly make it.
Yeah.
You know, there's an attitude about this that has to be there. Otherwise, don't do the show.
The Crew Kids are an interesting group of really talented, hysterical kids. There's just so many great things about all the relationships that are made in Crew, and to watch the kids kind of go from coming in when they're freshman or sophomore and seeing them through to their senior year, and watching them develop really good building skills and painting skills, and just being able to create an atmosphere where everyone's comfortable is probably my favorite part of being involved.
So what I love the most is when the different skill sets of the three groups we have, which is crew, pit, and cast, come together. So to me, there's like nothing more exciting than when the crew shows off their skills by creating this smooth, flawless flow of the show on an amazing set. Then that's supporting the pit, which is engaging in this amazing music through their playing. And then that supports the cast, who's able to tell a compelling and powerful story through their singing, acting, and dancing. So what I love is when the three skill sets come together and you just have this amazing show because everybody's doing what their passion is. So my degree is in acting and directing. Like, that's my specialty in theater. However, all through college, I actually was a part of a work-study program where I built every set that I acted on. So through that experience, I just developed this really deep respect for the crew because I knew what it was like to do all that work to make this amazing technical part of the production.
Like, this is all dry wood. How are we feeling? What's going on?
I'm feeling tired already. Tomorrow isn't going to be any better, but we're trying costumes and sound and everything today, so I think it's going to go well. As long as we get the lighting down, everything will go smoothly.
Start recording. Like, it's recording. For example, with Chicago, how did it change a lot from your beginning idea to the final product?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. What I think is just important to note is that there's a lot of people involved artistically in creating a show. So you've got the scenic designer, the lighting designer, a sound designer, the costume designer, etc., etc. So that visioning step in the beginning is really important because you need to do all of the planning work at the beginning so everybody's working towards a common vision, and it leads to a much more successful end result. So visioning is one of my favorite steps of the process.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dr. Happy birthday to you.
It's going really well. Today's gonna be good.
most about our crew, and what reminds me about the crew students I was able to work with in college is that I really think our Bay students are amazing at brainstorming and problem solving. I love watching them come up with, like, there's a problem and seeing you guys somehow solve it. I love watching the crew work cooperatively, the way 3 people can take on a project and support each other and build each other up until they create this excellent part of the show. I also love watching the crew perfect each set piece or lighting design or sound plan until it's flawless. Like, as a group, you refuse to stop until excellence has been produced, which I think is an incredible part about Bay, is that you hold each other to such high standards. So a lot of times the crew students I find are the ones I praise the most, and I think part of that is because I genuinely believe that our crew are the unsung heroes of both every production, but really our program as a whole.
Well, we got all the
in the
tech
end.
stuff to work, so we're happy. You know, we do tech, and when tech works, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it all came together. It's typical of any tech week. At the beginning of tech week, it looks like, oh my God, how are you ever going to make this look like a show? And then 2 days later, it kind of looks like a show. And then, hey, you have a show. It's great. Showbiz.
I felt that the show really, that our set looked very professional. The way that it was designed by Mr. Miller and Mr. Dolphin, and my painting techniques, I felt like it really was something that everyone was proud of. We had a great Chicago sign from another local theater group that added to the set really beautifully, and you put the music with it, and I think that it was a really high quality production value.
I really have a deep appreciation of the 2 adults who really inspire our crew to do the amazing work they do, which are Mr. Miller and Mrs. Armstrong. So Mr. Miller has come to our school and has shared a career's worth of knowledge about technical theater with our students. And Mrs. Armstrong has been there for the last 15 years, mentoring and working with our crew students. So I think what's really great about those 2 leaders is that they have instilled in our students this understanding that amazing technical theater is essential for an amazing production. Like, you can't have just good acting, it has to be supported by really excellent technical theater. And what I love is that I think they've inspired our students to make some of the most innovative, challenging, and truly inspiring sets that I've seen at a high school level. So I think what we have are some pretty incredible leaders who are inspiring some pretty incredible students.
Who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? Well, you are, but then there's everybody else too.
Thanks, Mr. Miller. Anything else you'd like to say?
No. Can I go home now?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you very
Maybe I'll
much.
just have a donut.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. What do you do in your free time when you're not at crew?
Wait for crew!
What do you love about crew?
I was thinking the same thing.
That the cult traditions.
We make a lot of good friends.
Peach Crush and the
That's
cult.
good
The it's a cult,
We do a
and
lot of-
I love the friends. You know, friends are.
We make friends.
I like that I get to learn how to use power tools and stuff that I wouldn't otherwise have access to, and that I've gotten to like
you know, cultivate more skills. Like I never would have thought that I would be doing lighting or know how to program anything or what a cue is. But I've gotten the opportunity to do that over 3 years, and that was really cool. I like that. The people are alright. Yeah.
It's like the stuff I liked about designing construction in middle school, except I'm actually making things instead of failing to build a locker shelf.
One of my favorite things about Crew is just all the people I've met, and it's like a fun little, like, hilarious community.
So, Steph, what do you like about Crew?
What I love about Crew is it's more than just a club. It's more than just an extracurricular, but it's really
understanding, loving team.
It's really a family. It's a team, and we're all like siblings because we give each other crap, but we really love each other. And
That's what Crew's about.
I feel like everyone is suffering together, but at the same time, we know that we're having so much fun, and we just know that we're gonna put on a great show.